Am I insane? I wouldn't necessarily say I'm crazy, simply because I've heard the voices and battled the godless things in the woods. But I must be crazy to believe. It all started with that damn book, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. Roughly translated, the Book of the Dead. Inked in human blood and bound in flesh. The book contained bizarre burial rites, prophecies, and demon resurrection passages. Professor Raymond Noby unearthed the book and brought it to this remote cabin where he could translate it. He awoke something dark in the woods, something evil. It got the professor. Then, it came for me. It got into my hand and it went bad. So I lopped it off at the wrist. The professor's daughter, Annie, helped me fight the evil. Using the book, we opened up a vortex to send the evil back. It worked. Big time. The girl died and I got a first-class ticket to the 12th century. I led a war against an army of Deadites, then used the book to get back home. Back to Dearborn. Even got my old job back. Not to mention, I met a great gal. Jenny, assistant manager, arts and crafts. We were the perfect match. But then, the nightmares came. For years, they haunted me, even when I was awake. Jenny thought I was crazy, but she agreed to help. We decided to go back to the cabin, back to where it all started. She said it would be good to face my fears. Big mistake.
Hey guys, welcome to Mikey's Video Game Madness. Today we're playing Evil Dead Hail to the King on the PlayStation 1, also available on the Sega Dreamcast. I'm not sure if it ever came out on the PC. If it didn't, and you're a PC owner, you're really not missing out on much. What you just witnessed cutscene-wise was probably the best part of this entire game. I usually try to find positive aspects about the game. Like, even if I don't like the game particularly, I try to find things in the game that maybe somebody else will like. Like, how many times am I going to use like anyway? I won't try to fault the game for something I might not like in particularly, but this game really feels flawed. To give you a backstory, I'm a huge fan of the Evil Dead movies. I'm not a big enough fan to get stars, though, unfortunately. But once the Blu-rays or DVDs come out of Ash versus the Evil Dead, you better believe that I'll be in line trying to get that. But I can't justify. I don't even know if I can afford to pay for the channel just for one TV show. And I'd rather have the DVDs anyway, or Blu-rays, or whatever way it comes out. But before this game came out, I was still a huge fan of Evil Dead. I guess I would be more so. But when this game came out, there wasn't any like new Evil Dead remakes or new movies coming out. I think Army of Darkness came out during the time of this game, at least 10 years ago. Sorry for coughing. I have this cough from the bronchitis that I had before, and it just never went away. So anyway, when they announced this game, it was great. And I guess Anchor Bay, who I don't know if they're still in charge of the Evil Dead and Army of Darkness films. It might be Shout Factory or something. I don't keep up with that shit, obviously, due to me not knowing now. But Anchor Bay was re-releasing a lot of the Evil Dead stuff, and Evil Dead merchandise was coming out. It was weird. It was like once the DVD format came out, all of a sudden, like, Evil Dead became popular again. So THQ, which is unfortunately no longer with us, I can see for some reasons why they released like a lot of shovelware, especially on the Game Boy and Nintendo consoles, especially around the time this game came out. But I actually think towards the end they were releasing some good stuff, like the Red Faction games and stuff like that. But whatever, I digress. Anyway, I never played the PlayStation version until this video now. I actually had the Dreamcast version, which I might be looking through rose-colored glasses, but I do remember being really excited for this game. Unlike Resident Evil, as you can see, the pre-rendered backgrounds are kind of animated, but the resolution on this is a lot lower. The Dreamcast had almost like the resolution of, say, maybe a DVD. Pretty much all Dreamcast games like run on the highest resolution you can get from like AV cable. So I don't know like if you know what I'm talking about, but when you look at it like from a CRT television, when it's at that high resolution, like some of the colors, like the reds and stuff, it's so sharp it almost looks like the edges and stuff are moving. But anyway, it's the highest resolution, so the backgrounds and stuff look a lot better. I almost feel like the controls are better on the Dreamcast. I also might be looking through it through rose-colored glasses, but I remember not really liking the Dreamcast version. I begged for this game for Christmas, and my grandmother, again, is no longer with us, but that's the video before this one, made sure that I had it, and I was super grateful. And you know what? I was such a huge fan, I made the best of it anyway. I got over not liking it and just went with it, and I actually ended up beating this game. Now, I still have the Dreamcast version. I just have no way to record the Dreamcast at this moment in time. I need to get a power cord and possibly an AV cord for it again, and I don't know when I'll do that. Part of it is probably just because I haven't been motivated, and it's just like I only have a few games on Dreamcast. Is it worth making like a big purchase? But I'm sure you can find them cheap. There's actually a retro store down the street. One day maybe I'll just suck it up and get it, but not for Evil Dead, but for the other games like Shenmue and stuff like that. Maybe with Shenmue 3 coming out, they'll come out with remastered versions of that. What can only hope that since Sega no longer owns the rights to Shenmue, as far as I know, I'm kind of bummed with the arcade. Maybe be like it might be just a bunch of the quick time event games. But anyway, back to this game. So this game obviously tries to go the Resident Evil route with somehow worse controls. Basically anything that I've heard people gripe about the original Resident Evil is exasperated in this version, especially as far as the controls go. Resident Evil is pretty good at aiming. Maybe the first Resident Evil was a little bit off, but as the director's cut and Resident Evil 2 went on, like the characters were better at auto aiming. Like this, not only do the enemies spawn at an unnatural rate, like your axe weapon is relatively useless. You get very little ammo. You have to make your ammo, and your chainsaw, one of the few useful items in the game, runs out of gas. Like there's a hole in the tank. Like it's ridiculous, and you have to remember to turn it on and turn it off, because even if it's running, it'll drain gas. Like so it'll still drain gas even if you're not swinging it, so you got to make sure it's off. But you have to hit the enemies 12 billion times, and then once they die, they come back alive. Now, it's not like they were rushing this game for like a movie to come out or anything like this. This game was in development for quite some time, so I really don't know what they were thinking. And this is one of those games that actually gets easier and a little bit better as you go on. I feel like this game's old enough where I can spoil it for you. He does go back into medieval times, like Army of Darkness, and that's when the game starts to become really interesting. Ironically, looking a lot better too. It's almost like 2 development teams worked on this game. I mean, the game mechanics and everything don't change or anything. It just seems better made, but I'm basing it all on the Dreamcast version. I can't get really far in the PlayStation 1 version. Maybe if I worked at it like I did the Dreamcast version, but I just don't have the patience. I paid $5 for this game. I still have the Dreamcast version. If I really want to play it, I just need the cables. And I'll probably eventually do that because there's some games that I would like to play again on Dreamcast, even though some of them are in GameCube, like the Sonic games and Skies or Arcadia. I hope I said that right. And Grandia 2, which is also available on the PlayStation 2 and PC. But my personal opinion, I prefer the Dreamcast version. I don't know if that makes me a purist or not, but I just like a lot of the games in the Sega Saltwater Fishing Arcade game. I don't think that's the title of it, but it's one of the few saltwater fishing games that I really like, or fishing games in general I really like, because some of these fishing games try to simulate what it's like to really go fishing, and it's just not that fun sitting in a boat. Like when you play a video game, video games are trying to take aspects. They should take aspects out of reality, but there are some cool things like visiting the cabin and stuff like that, but for a static background game, it just does not quite meet the style of Sam Raimi's films. And even though it would look, I think this game looks kind of crude. I think the backgrounds look really good, especially on the Dreamcast version. They don't really show that well on this, but and I'm not saying the Dreamcast version is fantastic. Like when I first played it, I was quite frustrated, but I stuck with it. This game, and I might be looking through it through rose-colored glasses of the Dreamcast version, even though I wasn't that fond of it, but I just feel like maybe because the Dreamcast version looked better, it was easier to navigate, or maybe the controls were slightly better. I could just make it through the Dreamcast version. This is just... Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. It's just... I don't know. I can't even like work my way through it. Maybe if I was more patient or something like that and didn't know what the Dreamcast version was like, I could push through. And the Dreamcast version is not going to be like the difference between Resident Evil and then the Resident Evil Remastered. They're quite similar, but the backgrounds are sharper. And I'm probably wrong, but I feel like the controls are sharper. But I mean, tighter, not sharper. Sorry. Again, lots going on the past few months, and I'm trying to get back in the swing of things, and my mind's all over the place. But I think that if they use like an engine, and there's some aspects like with the hand and stuff and medieval, like the medieval series, like if they use the engine like the medieval games use, I don't know why they don't bring that platforming series back. That's long overdue. Like that was a great series. I don't know if I covered that one. I don't think I have. I have the first one, but not the second one. I have it downloadable. Hopefully PlayStation Network remembers it, and maybe one day I'll record it. I don't have a physical copy, unfortunately, but I would like to. I remember Medieval 2 looking significantly better, and if they just did something with that, it would be better. But this game does have Bruce Campbell. It has an awesome score by Tommy Tallarico. Like, the talent is there. I really don't understand how this final product came to be. And then they came out with another Evil Dead game on PlayStation 2. I'm not sure if it came out on Xbox. I'm thinking that it might have, but don't quote me. It was called Evil Dead, Fistful of Boomstick, and that one was better than this. It was more of a action brawler type game. and it was still kind of average, but significantly better than this, since it was all rendered in 3D. You got your dynamic camera angles, and it was like to my knowledge, a direct sequel to this game. But then there was a third one, which I do believe for sure came out on Xbox and PlayStation 2, called Evil Dead Regeneration, which I would actually like to pick up. It wasn't the best game in the world, but it's the best Evil Dead game that I've played, and it's actually a pretty good it's a pretty good 6th gen title and pretty fun. It doesn't do anything you haven't seen before. Every level is pretty much collect these items, open this unlocked door, but it has the humor, the dynamic camera angles and everything like that, and I would just go for that. This game, maybe you like it, and I won't judge you for not liking it. I liked it too when it was back in the day after I got the hang of things, but it's just not very fun in my opinion now. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Evil Dead Hail to the King on PlayStation 1. If you have a chance, if you need to play this game, play it on Dreamcast. Thanks, guys. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye.
If you want to, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.